Most survival games want to kill you. Pacific Drive just wants to mildly inconvenience you until you question whether you're fit to own a vehicle. It's a game about a road trip through a haunted American wasteland, except instead of friends, snacks, and a playlist, you get radiation storms, rogue appliances, and a car that occasionally develops a personality disorder. And it was you, the viewers, who picked this one for Game Pass Greats. So if you voted for it, congratulations. You've sent me straight into an exclusion zone armed with nothing but WD-40 and misplaced optimism. Developed by Ironwood Studios and published by Kepler Interactive, Pacific Drive launched back in February 2024. It's now become available on Xbox Game Pass. You can also play on PlayStation 5, PC, and GeForce Now. On Steam, it currently sits at a very positive. The premise is simple. You're trapped in the Olympic exclusion zone, a fog-soaked stretch of Pacific Northwest mystery, and your only lifeline is a battered station wagon that becomes your everything. Your transport, your workshop, your bunker, and occasionally, your biggest liability. The first few hours are chaos. You'll stall the engine, forget the handbrake, run the battery flat, and watch your car roll elegantly down a hill into a radioactive puddle. It's part driving sim, part panic management, and the combination is great if you're into having anxiety while you play. The car feels weighty, clunky, but in that satisfying and deliberate way, and learning to maintain it becomes oddly personal. You don't just repair panels, you patch up your own incompetence. Every trip out of the garage feels like preparing for a miniature expedition. You stock the boot, check the power cells, and pray the headlights make it through the night. Then you hit the road, scavenging for materials, dodging anomalies, and hoping the zone's supernatural mood swings don't fry your electrics. The gameplay loop is roguelite at its core. You venture out, gather resources, limp back home, and gradually rebuild both your car and your confidence. It's a slow burn, but once you start unlocking upgrades, reinforced bumpers, cargo racks, radiation shields, that old junker becomes something almost beautiful, like a mechanical pet that occasionally bites. The car's quirk system adds real character. Over time it develops habits, shall we say? Headlights that flicker in distress, or a horn that toots nervously when you approach danger. It's funny, slightly unnerving, and surprisingly effective at making you care about a lump of metal. But here's the catch. Pacific Drive doesn't respect your time. For every thrilling dash through a storm, there's 20 minutes of rummaging, wrenching, and trying to remember which door you left open. The rhythm can drag, and sometimes the loop feels less survival adventure and more post-apocalyptic commute. The exclusion zone itself looks incredible. Misty forests, rusted towers, glowing anomalies, but it also feels staged. Once you've seen a few of its tricks, the surprises lose impact. The world repeats itself in ways that make exploration feel procedural rather than personal. The story trickles in through radio chatter. Scientists arguing, theories unfolding, fragments of lore delivered in the background while you fix a tire. It's intriguing enough to keep you listening, but never gripping enough to make you care. Like tuning into an interesting podcast while your dashboard catches fire. Performance on Xbox Game Pass is solid. There's the occasional frame hitch here and there, but nothing catastrophic. Load times are decent, and it holds steady even when the weather goes nuclear. The sound design, though, deserves a shout. That deep engine rumble, the hiss of rain on metal, and the eerie hum of anomalies all sell the mood really, really well. And the soundtrack is absolutely spot on. A mix of grimy road trip rock and ambient unease, like someone found a lost cassette under the seat of a ghost pickup truck. It gives the zone its pulse. You'll find yourself leaving the radio on just for the atmosphere. So let's talk about what works as well. The car system is brilliant. Tactile, personal, and full of personality. The environmental tension builds naturally, never forced. The audio design carries the entire mood, and when you finally manage a successful run through a storm, it's genuinely exhilarating. But, and it's a big but, the pacing struggles. Runs can feel repetitive, and the core loop, while satisfying, risks turning meditative into monotonous. The story exists mostly as wallpaper, and after a while, you start to feel like a mechanic in purgatory. Still, I can't help but admire what Ironwood tried here. Pacific Drive isn't just about jump scares or action. It's about survival through maintenance. It's about attachment, frustration, and that weird affection that grows when a game forces you to care for something fragile and unreliable. The core structure of the game reminds me of Slay the Spire, where the destination barely matters, only the journey and whether you can survive it. If you've got Game Pass, it's definitely worth taking for a spin. Just don't expect an easy cruise. Expect a ghostly road trip that alternates between serene and stressful, brilliant and boring, and sometimes all within a single drive. Pacific Drive might not be the most thrilling ride on Game Pass, but it's one of the most distinctive for sure. And for that alone, it earns its place in our Game Pass Greats lineup. Picked by you, suffered through by me. If you've played it, tell me how wrong I am. I'll be over here fixing another flat in the rain again. See you in the next one.